Welcome, humans, and any celestial body else out there listening. This is Curious Minds, Infinite Answers. I'm your host, Courtney Christine Koskin. This podcast, simply put, is a mix of human curiosity and how, with the help of AI technology, curious minds can get the answers we seek. Let's get mind-bending and plunge deep beneath the surface of our everyday thoughts. Let's begin. Welcome back to Curious Minds, Infinite Answers. Thanks for being here with me in this moment. We spend our lives trying to get ahead. We follow trends, chase milestones, upgrade everything from our devices to our routines to how we look. We try to act like we've got it all figured out. But what if we've had it all backwards? What if the version of progress we're chasing is quietly pulling us away from ourselves? This one isn't about blame or nostalgia. It's about curiosity, per usual. It's about pausing long enough to ask, what if the things we've been taught to want aren't actually the things we need? Been doing this thing lately called unlearning. And, we are born, we get nurtured, we are raised, we are taught, we learn. It's called conditioning. But you get to a certain point where, if you're someone like me, you start asking questions and you start thinking to yourself, just because I was taught all these things doesn't mean it's actually total one-way truth. So maybe I ought to start unlearning some of these things. I like to ask myself what it would look like to start choosing differently, looking at the world differently. Literally, looking into a forest and seeing what you see instead of just trees and leaves and wind blowing the leaves. Beyond that, I don't know what it might be for you, but try to look at things differently. In this episode, we're going to start with one big one: success. We're told it means reaching the top, being recognized, being busy, being productive, trophies, accolades, and awards. Passion and drive are great. They give us fuel and purpose. But when success becomes about exhaustion and burnout becomes a badge of honor, something's gone terribly wrong. Why do we associate our worth with how much we produce anyway, instead of how deeply we live? Because somewhere along the way, we were taught that our value had to be proven. We inherited systems built on output, performance, and comparison, where time is money and rest is laziness. Where the ones who do the most are the ones who are celebrated. Where slowing down feels like falling behind. It's not that we chose this on purpose. It's that we were raised in it, measured in grades, promotions, likes, and followers, rewarded for what we accomplish, not for how we exist. And in a world that rarely stops to ask, how are you, really? We start to ask ourselves, what have I done to earn my place today? We have more tools than ever to use, and yet fewer moments to just be. We fill our calendars to feel valuable. We overwork to prove we matter. And when we finally get that raise or that title or that applause, we're already too tired to enjoy it. If that's success, maybe we did get it backwards. Because imagine if success actually looked like peace of mind, a healthy body, time for stillness, time to create without pressure, connect without performance, and rest without guilt. Our worth was never meant to be tied to output. It was never supposed to be conditional. You were valuable the moment you arrived. But let's also be realistic in this. In this world we've created, output does matter. It's how rent gets paid, how food ends up on the table. And if we're being honest, if we were in a zombie apocalypse, your tribe wouldn't care how deeply you meditate. They'd care about who can build shelter, grow food, keep watch, or tie a tourniquet. So yes, what we contribute matters. But here's the twist. We've confused contribution with worth. There's a big difference between being valuable to a group and believing that your value as a human depends on what you produce. In any community zombie apocalypse or not, your gifts matter. But you're more than just your utility. You're not a machine, you're not a spreadsheet. You don't need to earn your existence to prove you matter. Even in a tribe built for survival, the quiet presence of a grounded human being can be just as vital as the person with the hammer. we need to relearn how to honor both. The reality that contribution keeps a society functioning, and the reminder that your essence, your care, your presence, your empathy is valuable, even when it's not monetized. We don't have to deny the system to see its flaws. We just have to stay awake inside it. Here's another everyday choice for consideration: style. We're all born unique. Every voice, every face, every walk, every soul. But somehow, we end up trying to fit into the same trends. We follow fashion to belong, we scroll for inspiration, and end up dressing the same. We fear standing out, even when every part of our being is begging us to. It's backwards. We've mistaken uniformity for beauty, when true beauty has always lived in the bold, the different, the brave. And here's the thing. Some people do own their uniqueness. You've seen them walking with ease in their own skin, dressing how they feel, expressing without apology. Not to be trendy, but to be true. Because style, when it's authentic, becomes power, not pressure. That's what fashion could be, a celebration of the uniqueness that makes up you, not a performance to fit in, but a language to say, this is who I am. Now, let's briefly touch on social media. We were given tools to connect, but somehow along the way, we became obsessed with being seen, liked, shared, and validated, not just by our parents or close circles anymore, but by the entire world. And that's a little weird, isn't it? We curate, we perform, and we chase. Don't get me wrong, I'm not here to bash it. These platforms can be powerful tools when we use them with intention. So let's not forget how to be real in a world that rewards the polished. I have to remind myself of this all the time. I come from an audio background that did nothing but radio productions. Everything needed to sound polished. I have to retrain and relearn how to actually sound like myself when I'm speaking behind a microphone. Real and raw is authentic. It's human. It's connectedness. I've been thinking a lot about social media lately because my friend and business partner and I have started working with small business owners, helping them show up on social media in a way that feels honest, human, and helpful. So in our case, we're not chasing trends for the sake of it. We're helping people be seen for who they actually are while sharing real value with their communities. Because if we're going to use these tools, we've got to use them to amplify the truth and empower people, not just bog them down with fear and impulsivity. Maybe we got it backwards when we started building digital personas instead of nurturing real connection. Maybe moving forward, we use these tools more intentionally to reflect who we really are, not just how we want to be perceived, especially now with the introduction of AI. So what if forward looked slower? What if forward meant returning to nature, to our bodies, to stillness? What if forward meant learning how to live with less, but feel more? Progress doesn't have to mean more tech, more hustle, more sameness. It can mean deeper wisdom, deeper presence, deeper joy. What if we measured our lives not just by the things we could show, but by the peace we felt when no one was watching? There's one more piece of this backwards life that I can't ignore. Ignorance used to be kind of innocence. We lived in small villages, surrounded by familiar faces. We knew one another. We cared for one another. There was hardship, yes, but there was also a shared sense of responsibility. Now, we know about everything. Every war, every famine, every injustice. And not just in our own town, but across the globe. And as beautiful as awareness can be, there's a shadow side to this flood of knowing. Information overload becomes emotional overload. So, we scroll past it. We desensitize. We look away, not because we're heartless, but because our hearts weren't built to hold the world's pain all at once. It's backwards. We've never known more, and yet, we've never felt less able to do anything about it. So, we cope by turning inward, numbing ourselves, distracting ourselves, and building invisible walls around our own lives just to stay functional. But what if, instead of tuning out, we learned how to tune in with compassion and boundaries? What if we created smaller circles of care again, not out of ignorance, but out of intentionality? What if we helped where we can and let that be enough? Because the truth is, we can't stop every tragedy, but we can stop that quiet ache, the one that comes from knowing we could have done something, but chose not to. When we can take action within our own homes, our own hearts, and our own relationships. We were never meant to carry the whole world on our backs, but we were meant to care for our corner of it. So maybe it's not about going back in time, but about remembering what made us human in the first place. Rest, kindness, truth, creativity, connection, and so much more. Those things that don't show up on a resume, but live at the core of who we are. We may have gotten it backwards in some areas and are still trying to unlearn here and there, but we're still here, still choosing, still learning how to live in alignment again. So, with that, thanks for being part of this reflection today. If it stirred something in you, don't rush past it. Sit with it. Share it if you want. Live it. Because forward doesn't have to look like faster, louder, or more. Forward might just look like coming home to ourselves, back to some of the basics. Until next time, take care of your truth and know you never needed to fit in to belong. Thank you for tuning in to Curious Minds, Infinite Answers. I'm Courtney Christine Koskin, and I hope you'll join me for next week's episode as we proceed down the path of curiosity and discovery, uncovering various topics along the way. If you have any comments or want answers to your burning curiosities, drop me a line in the comments below. Until we meet again, find the good in the world, and if you can't find it, be the good.